Hello everybody, I'm Blake from Real Bytes, the National Operations Manager of an IT company, and I'm sitting here with the wonderful
Mark Jones, Managing Director of Your Digital Solution. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of digital and tech things, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I think today we are talking about a mythical beast, mythical being the
unicorn.
Perfect tech stack. And my reflection on this topic is the number of people who let perfect get in the way of good. They are hunting for this combination of systems and these processes that just sit together ever so sweetly that no one has to do any work anymore. They can't find it and they end up doing nothing and they stay back in the Stone Age.
Let me be the first IT guy to go on record, and all of my colleagues are going to hate me. There is no perfect IT stack. It doesn't exist. There is nothing that's perfect. Something better is better than nothing. It's so common. We go into these places and see these people that have tried for these big projects and spent all of this money, and then they've left the key to the front door under the rug.
Tell me what your view is on the change that I've seen in my career, coming from corporate, where we were on big systems, ERPs, Enterprise Resource Planning, which had all your buying inputs and outputs, etc. But today we're in this SaaS world, software as a service, where lots and lots of little microservices, $30, $100 a month, all these cheap little things that allegedly plug together. What are the pros and cons of either ends of those systems?
I want to say things have gotten better for small, medium and enterprise business, because they have. There's a lot more smarts. We talk about AI, we talk about learning and all of this. But it all still plugs together like it's held together by tape and band-aids. Some of the server rooms I have been in this country, you'd be surprised for the big corporations that are still held together by stuff from the 1950s, I reckon. Again, nothing's perfect. The one thing I do like is now in this SaaS-based world, these pieces of software or solutions that small, medium, enterprise businesses couldn't get a hold of, they now can. They can actually subscribe to this on a monthly level and get smart. Microsoft Copilot, Xero, MyOp, all of these things that just didn't exist now do. And if used right, brilliant.
And they also have big marketplaces too, don't they?
Do.
You know, the Xero marketplace of all the
Bolt-ons,
timekeeping tools, operations tools that come off the back, logistics, scheduling tools.
Absolutely.
You end up in these little ecosystems.
Yeah, and we use a lot of this in-house. Like, we practice what we preach. We use Xero for our timesheeting for our staff. When I started as an apprentice, we used Excel. We used Excel and fill it in coloured boxes. So that's where it's come from. So that's really good.
Doesn't it get messy sometimes? We wind up with a tool for this and a tool for that, and I'm in and out, and I'm over here and I'm back there, and I can't get to that one. Someone else has the login.
Yeah.
What's the sort of best case scenario? What are the systems maybe that you typically see people getting the most bang for buck out of, versus those that become a bit of a cute edge play? We've got CRMs for emailing out, and then we've got sales tools for pipeline management and reporting. Then we've got the operations management, inventory. What are your thoughts on the most important ones?
And I might go against the rest of my colleagues in this space, but I always say, it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. So the really big players are investing lots of R&D budget, they're innovating quicker than everybody else, and they're working through it. We're a big Microsoft house, we support a lot of Microsoft house, we support a lot of Google as well. That's probably a key one, because they've just made plays in AI, made plays in smarts. They've got pretty much everything you need to run a business in it. The other ones, like we mentioned, like Xero and HubSpot, some of those other big players, you're better off going generally with one of those big guys than necessarily some of the niche ones.
You've touched on three things there. I'm going to tease out one at a time. You first said, better the devil you know.
Yeah.
Who in the business knows? Because I often find that people change tools when they change people.
Yep.
But really, you shouldn't be changing your whole systems just because you change a resource.
No, and that comes back to training. I really like that question. It's training, right? New people in the workplace will often bring stuff that they're used to, or take stuff from workplace to workplace. But we always say, train your staff, teach them these different pieces of software and tools, and get the benefit out of it. You're paying hundreds and sometimes thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in subscription services. Take the time to learn them. Document what you have in your workplace. That's important. Lots of workplaces don't even know what subscriptions they're paying or what services they're paying for.
How would you document that?
You got to audit. You got to go back to grassroots.
Yeah.
You've got to go through, look at what's on your corporate card. Go through and what's that Adobe line item there for the marketing team. It's a manual process still.
Because training itself can be an overhead, can't it?
Absolutely.
So if you have a bit of attrition, people coming and going, or you want to cross skill the team, and not everyone has that affinity with systems. Not everyone likes working
Absolutely.
with tools. One of the tools we found really helpful lately, we've got 2 tools we use a lot for training. We can always use more, but Scribe
Brilliant tool.
is amazing, right?
Brilliant
Screen
tool.
tracks, click this, do that. It writes the record of what
Yep.
you've just done. The other one we use is Loom. So loom.com, where you're recording your screen plus the verbal instructions over the top, just to catch those little tips and tricks on how to do things, so people start getting a little more
It's
consistent.
like a Teams meeting on steroid. You
Yeah.
get to see what you're doing and listen and look at the same time.
Any others you'd suggest? Have you seen anyone doing training in a particularly good way?
Oh, look, we love those two as well. I think we use them in our business day in,
Yeah.
day out. Scribe is a lot for SOPs, so we write a lot of standard operating procedures
Yeah.
or manuals over and over and over again, which comes in and Loom. No, I would actually say they're probably the two in the
Good.
market. Yeah.
Perfect. The second point you made earlier was you said the words R&D, or the acronym R&D. Now, a couple of years ago, the government's going to not reimburse companies for R&D spend where it was less than 2%. And the clever political play there was very few companies actually spend more than 2%
On R&D, that's right.
which sort of tells you that to really be evolving and improving and enhancing your systems and replacing them perhaps, businesses need to be budgeting more than they probably are, because one of the mythical things here with this perfect tech stack is I think that businesses want it to happen out of the box and to be working tomorrow,
Yep.
which is really quite a tall order. Do you see businesses, how do they do this best? When is someone right-sizing their investment, or even being realistic about the time that it takes to put a new system in, like NetSuite or things like that?
It's crazy. It's a dual-edged sword. You want to future-proof. We all want growth in our business. We don't want to scale backwards, right? So you've got to future-proof what's coming, but you also want to protect your investment. So you don't want to oversize. So we always go to market every time there's a big decision, and a lot of people would say, "Oh, why waste your time?" We go to market fresh, and we go and look. We compare. Because just what was in a product 6 months ago now, with this AI and the automation and the turnaround, that product's added 10 features or taken away 3 features. So we always sort of say, when you think you need something, go to market, look what's in there, compare, and then move forwards. Don't just we did this 10 years ago, we used this thing 10 years ago, it's changed since then.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have the little tick list here about, before we go and look for something new, why don't we look at what we've got?
Oh, that's true.
Are we
Absolutely.
using?
Yeah, look internally first.
Utilisation, right? We're paying for this thing. How many people actually use it, or is it just a pet tool of the CFO that no one else actually likes?
Yeah, there's one report that gets generated once a month, and that's it. We have every year, I would say, 20, 30, 50 meetings where we go in and we just audit people's Microsoft 365 licensing.
Right.
Because they've bought Business Basic, then they've moved to Standard, then they've moved to Premium, then they moved to Enterprise, then they've moved to this, and they never go back and look. And some of these really nice big Microsoft licenses now have in Copilot, they have in Planner, they have in Forms, they have all of this rich stuff that you're paying for, that's what they're selling you. Oh, it's $50 a month. They don't use.
They're covering the base 3 times.
Yeah.
And what about mapping what each of them do, highlighting those overlaps, but then also finding out who's using different tools and trying to get them onto the one tool set, because then internally you're going to get collaboration and learning, aren't you?
And that's a really internal business-driven process. We like to support it with IT, but we work with executive assistants and business managers that go, what is your core business function? What do you need this for? Is it just that one report a month? Okay, well, what are we already doing? Oh, this report over here is almost identical. There's one less cost.
The third thing you said at the opening there was you talked about maintaining it. And I often think with these systems, we're putting them out, yes, we all swallow the pill of having to pay to get it put in, and the consultants come along and the business analysts come along. But I'm thinking of, some of the folks listening to this will be office professionals who probably aren't dictating that we change our systems in an organisation, but they are kind of left with these tools that aren't really evolving or being adopted. So with this maintenance piece, perhaps making sure they're talking to vendors and they're getting help and they're getting support and they're taking little guided coaching or what have you.
They are always left holding the puck. Always the office professionals that, the IT team or someone else has come in and said, oh, look at this new great big, piece of... And then the executive assistant, it's the person that's got to maintain it. In all of these software, we always say, go back and look at your report documents. There'll be vendor support in there. You pay for it. It's almost baked in now. Use and leverage subject matter experts and the vendor to deliver. You're paying a huge premium to these vendors. Make sure you get back what you've put in. So,
yeah, fantastic. What would be the 2 or 3 absolute headlines for you for businesses when they're thinking about how much waste do I have? Where is that waste, and what might I do to start working out how to replace it?
Yeah, I guess we sort of look at it exactly like that, but in a different way. Where is your data? Like, where is your data somewhere secure? So, wastage-wise, have you got your data in 4 different spots or 5 different spots and you don't need it to be? Can it come to one? That's a huge one. Do you know what you consume? Have you gone through your credit card statement and looked at all the different invoices, or gone to your vendor and gone and actually looked at your bill and picked it up and go, there's a line item here for 100 staff. We have 120 staff now, or reverse, we have 80 staff. Why does that not match up? And the third part is fit for use. So before you get to the end of a piece of software, or before when you're starting to see limitations, not when it's broken, but as you can start to see limitations, either go back to that vendor and ask, or go out to market then, not once it's broken, because then it's a crisis. So.
Yeah, exactly. You're costing yourself far more in lost business performance and productivity than you are in any sort of software license.
Absolutely.
And I like where you start there with the data, because once we have that data in one place, then all the AI tools actually get really superpowered, don't they? They're able to dig into more material information and give us better support.
And you'd see it day in, day out with marketing and Google and everything. You need that data to be able to deliver outcomes to the customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Great. Thank you, Blake, for telling us a little more about the perfect tech stack, and not how to find it, but how to make our own.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.